All of a sudden we have a major spread. It's spreading everywhere, and the federal government is now issuing an emergency alert for this. All right, so this is happening right now, and they are trying to normalize it, and this is something that we did not consent to. Okay, and this is tied to potentially what they have been releasing. Okay, they have been releasing stuff into the air, and we did not consent to this. And now there are new diseases and new problems, new health emergencies popping up. All right, so we did not consent to this, and they are now releasing this onto the public. And all of a sudden, okay, all these new diseases are popping up as well. We have rare new diseases in Alabama, New York, Florida, Texas, and Maryland, okay? And in Alabama and New York, okay, we already have fatalities showing up. So this is a huge situation that is happening, and it's directly tied to what they have been releasing into the air. And I'm going to show you proof on how exactly this could happen, because they keep saying this is safe. This is so safe. This is good for you. There are no downsides to this. But then they also, if you really dig into the documents, they actually say, wait a minute, this could actually go terribly wrong. And maybe this is going terribly wrong, because we are seeing new diseases popped up that haven't been in the US in 20 years. Okay, so this is a big problem that we are dealing with right now. And we have even video of them allegedly releasing stuff into the air too. Okay, new videos coming out of Florida and California where potentially they are releasing things into the air. All right, I'm going to show some clips of that. So all this stuff is happening right now, and we did not consent to this. I did not consent to this. I do not want this for my family. And we are entering into this dystopian stage where they can genetically modify anything. They can release whatever chemicals they want into the air, and they can release whatever organisms they want into the air, and we just have to take it, and we have to be subjected to these insane science experiments. And honestly, I'm really worried that a lot of these do not have good intent. Okay, they say that they have good intent. I'm worried that a lot of these companies and people behind these releases and what's going on here do not have good intent. We're going to dive into that as well, and we're going to talk about who is actually potentially behind what is going on here. All right, so let's dive into this news here. We have Florida getting hit. We have Alabama. We have New York, Texas, and Maryland. Okay, we have the CDC coming out and issuing this emergency health alert. Okay, and we also have fatalities showing up, and it's also hitting animals too. It's hitting horses as well. We have a new disease. They're saying it's a ultra rare new disease that just popped up out of nowhere, and it's attacking horses as well, and it's spreading through horses as well. So if you have horses, this could potentially hit you even harder. All right, so this is not normal. We should not be seeing this. We should see reduced levels of these diseases, because sanitation and education and drainage, all these things have increased over the years. So these diseases should be decreasing. But there's a lot of these crazy science experiments going on, and I'm worried that some of them are going wrong. Okay, so let's dive into what's happening here. Okay, and this is related to, and I'm going to prove it, and I'm going to prove it from their own documents, how they are admitting how this could go completely wrong, and this could potentially be linked to this. Okay, so let's dive into what's happening here first. Okay, we have these new diseases that are popping up in multiple states. Okay, so we have a new rare disease that's popping up in Alabama and New York. And then we have another disease in Florida, Texas, and Maryland. So you can see here rare mosquito-borne virus reported in Alabama and New York with 1 death. Okay, these strange new viruses keep popping up, and they keep being related to mosquitoes and these other genetically modified insects like ticks as well, this alpha-gal syndrome. I made a whole video on that, how that's spreading too, how they genetically modified ticks, and now this syndrome is spreading to people, all right? But you can see here, it's called the Eastern Equine Encephalitis, and it has been reported in people in the US, and it can cause very serious illness and can have a 30% fatality rate, 30% fatality rate. And it can also have neurological orders. 50% of people that survive from it have long-term neurological orders and brain damage issues. All right, so this is a very serious disease that is spreading, and it has killed one person in Alabama, and people are getting sick, and horses are getting sick as well. Okay, it's spreading in New York as well. They have cases in New York, and it is getting horses sick, and people interact with the horses and they get sick from that, and they could get bit by these very rare mosquitoes that are spreading this. So something is going on, okay, and we're going to dive into how they are doing these manipulations, and they admit that, whoops, this could go wrong. They say it's safe, but it's actually not safe because they have a major flaw in their plan, and this could be why we are seeing these strange diseases pop up, all right? We also had the CDC come out and issue an emergency alert, and they are now trying to normalize malaria being spread, okay? You can see here, this is coming out of the CDC, important updates on locally acquired malaria cases identified in Florida, Texas, and Maryland, okay? They just put this out because they had a new malaria case in Maryland just last week as well. So we had cases in Florida and Texas a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago now, and now another case just popped up in Maryland, and they haven't had malaria since 2003. Okay, so over 20 years, they haven't had malaria in the entire U.S. There's been no locally transmitted malaria, and this is local transmission. These are people that haven't traveled, are gone anywhere, left the area, and they are getting malaria from the mosquitoes, and people can even be a vector to help spread malaria as well. All right, so this is a very big deal that this is happening, and we have these multiple diseases that are spreading. We have malaria in 3 different states, and then we have this new disease, this Eastern Equine Encephalitis. All right, I believe that's what it's called. That's spreading in Alabama and New York. Okay, so this is something that needs to be on your radar. You need to be careful when you go out at night, okay, because that's when mosquitoes like to come out. Even just sitting here in the shade, I'm getting bitten up by little fleas and gnats, and sometimes mosquitoes and flies and things like that are bothering me. So you need to be prepared if you are in these states for this to potentially spread. And there's been a fatality in Alabama, all right? That's how bad this disease with a 30% fatality rate could be if it starts spreading more, okay? We also have evidence of them admitting that this could go terribly wrong. This could go terribly wrong, okay? So let's dive into here. This is an article from The Guardian, how they admitted they released 2.4 billion genetically modified mosquitoes, okay? And they started doing this in 2021, and they keep doing these major releases, okay? So they release 100 million here, 100 million there. They'll release some in Florida, some in California, okay? And then these mosquitoes are spreading throughout the country, and people are even getting video of them potentially releasing them. Let me know what you guys think these pictures look like, okay? We have one with a helicopter coming out of Florida, and people are saying that it looks like mosquitoes are being dropped from this helicopter, okay? And everyone around is looking up at this helicopter, okay? It's definitely something's going on, and you can tell this is in Florida. People are saying this is in southern Florida near the Keys, and you can tell this is Florida just by the buildings and the signs and the palm trees everywhere. It definitely looks like southern Florida. And this helicopter is releasing this very strange black, I don't know, weird mist that looks very strange, and it definitely could be mosquitoes being released, okay? There was also this video released last week that people were recording in Anaheim, California, okay, of a very similar situation. It was this black kind of mist that was in the air, and it was swarming around and just like moving very strange. And people were speculating that that was potentially a mosquito release as well. So they are doing these releases all the time. Okay, they didn't just release 2.4 billion at once, and they are admitting that big things could go wrong. All right, they also have techniques where they release mosquitoes in boxes. So they'll just put out giant boxes of these GMO mosquitoes in certain locations, and they'll create little habitats. They'll put a bunch of water and stuff in there that the mosquitoes need to get going, and they will also release them that way as well. And they'll set up a ton of these boxes wherever they want to have these GMO mosquitoes released. All right, so this could be a problem. All right, anytime you are opening up this vector by putting in a different animal's DNA into the mosquito to alter it, and they are even altering the parasites inside of the mosquitoes, okay? Because a lot of these diseases are caused by parasites that are transferred to you from the mosquitoes, and they are also genetically altering the parasites that are inside the mosquitoes, okay, to try to make them more benign and try to spread these other parasites that are more benign. That's what they're saying. They're less lethal. They're trying to spread those to overtake the bad parasites that cause a list of these diseases that are spread through mosquitoes. That's how a lot of them are spread, is the mosquitoes pick up a parasite, or they're born with it, and then it spreads the parasite to another host, okay? That's how heartworm for dogs happens. Now this equine parasite is attacking horses right now and attacking people as well in Alabama in New York. And these parasites are also being genetically manipulated and genetically altered. Okay, so let's get into more details of here how they admit this. They literally admit this as well, that this could go terribly wrong. This could go terribly wrong. And the main company that is releasing these GMO mosquitoes is called Oxitec. They're also releasing GMO ticks, okay, cattle ticks specifically. And now there's this alpha-gal syndrome going around where you can't eat meat, and they are genetically altering the ticks to not want to eat the meat, okay? And if you get bit by these ticks, and you get this alpha-gal syndrome where you can't eat meat. So lots of suspicious stuff's going on. These ticks are being released by Oxitec. They're also releasing these mosquitoes, and this company admittedly gets grants and funding from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation as well. Admittedly, they put it on their website. It's in mainstream news. They get funding and grants. They specifically got a ton of money to make these GMO ticks. So you can bet they're getting money and funding and grants from lots of people, but specifically the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation were listed for them. Okay, so there's a lot of, that's why I was worried about the potential intent of these mosquitoes. Okay, I'm worried that they do not have a good intent. The people releasing these mosquitoes, they know that this could go terribly wrong. All right, so you can see here, they released 2.4 billion genetically modified male mosquitoes. Okay, and their big theory here is that, look, these mosquitoes aren't a danger. They're safe because they can't bite you. All right, at least most male mosquitoes, 99.9% of them can't bite you, but some of them actually can bite you. Okay, that's a major loophole right there. But they also genetically manipulate these male mosquitoes to be dependent on tetracycline antibiotics. Okay, that's a very common antibiotic that is used in agriculture and all over the place. It ends up in wastewater and runoff all over the globe. Okay, so it is antibiotic dependent mosquitoes. That's essentially what these are, and they are dependent on tetracycline. That's what these GMO mosquitoes are. So they can live in the lab because they are giving them tons of antibiotics to stay alive. But the theory is once they are released, they don't have access to them anymore, so they can't stay alive. Which, by the way, just putting that gene and manipulating it into the mosquitoes where they are dependent on antibiotics, this tetracycline, is very dangerous just to begin with. And then having those mosquitoes enter into the gene pool, all right, that's very dangerous dangerous just to begin with too. But then there's also contamination of tetracycline all throughout the environment. Okay, it's a major agriculture antibiotic that's used in farms all over. Okay, all over. And it ends up in runoff and ends up in lakes, ends up in streams where there's a lot of agriculture going on. Then we could see these mosquitoes get access to this tetracycline in runoff water and potentially be able to survive and potentially be able to thrive and adapt to be able to live with very small amounts of this and potentially not need it at all after a few generations. Okay, so this is a very dangerous thing, and they even admit it in their own documents here. Okay, they were saying that earlier this month, the EPA concluded that the mosquitoes were safe in a test, but stipulated that the mosquitoes cannot be released near any potential tetracycline sources, an antibiotic that acts as an antidote. The regulations include within 500 meters of wastewater treatment facilities, commercial citrus, apple, pear, nectarine, peach growing areas, or commercial cattle, poultry, and livestock producers. All the modified insects are equipped with a marker gene that scientists can use to tell apart from wild ones. Okay, so right there, they admit, the EPA even said, don't release these mosquitoes in agricultural prone area because they use this tetracycline all the time. And if the mosquitoes get access to it, then this could be devastating and allow them to survive. You can also see here coming out of Reuters, okay, they admitted there have also been concerns that because the genetically altered females are originally exposed to the antibiotic tetracycline, it could indirectly increase the chances of antibiotic-resistant infections in humans, USA Today reported. All right, and that's coming out of a Reuters article right there. You can see Florida releases genetically modified mosquitoes in hopes to reduce spread of disease. So this has been going on for a few years now. They started this in 2021. Now it's 2023. We've had multiple cycles for the mosquitoes to go through, weather cycles, and they are adapting. Did you see that warning? They're warning that there could be hybrid mosquitoes, new hybrid mosquitoes that are forming from this genetic manipulation, from this antibiotic resistance, and all these different things. They're throwing everything at these mosquitoes. And then if they're still able to survive and reproduce, we're going to have these GMO Franken mosquitoes. And the ones that they're releasing, I've seen these everywhere. These are these big old black ones with the white stripes on them, the white dots on them. All right, these are everywhere now, and I used to not see these. I grew up in Florida, and I grew up boating. Right, we were always out on the boat, always by the water. Okay, and this is not normal. These mosquitoes are not normal, and they're popping up everywhere. Okay, even out west, if you are near small bodies of water, okay, you can get a massive mosquito infestation. I've stayed near these little creeks and stuff in my RV, and the mosquitoes are really bad, and they have these massive ones that are black with the white dots on them. All right, these are the mosquitoes that you need to be worried about that are transmitting these diseases, and now even new diseases are popping up. Okay, so let me know what you think down below. Please hit it up for me down below to get this video out to more people. People need to know what's happening in their communities, and there needs to be consent. I bet 90% of people would say no to these mosquitoes being released. Why do you need to do this? This should not be a thing. And they're also pushing as a solution that they're going to spray the streets more. Okay, they're going to spray the streets more. So this is also happening everywhere as well, where they have these truck sprayers and they're spreading. They're all the way up in Maryland now. All right, I was finding articles how they are unleashing the truck sprayers even up north now, where it's these trucks that go around the neighborhood and they're spraying these toxic chemicals into the air. And they admit these are pesticides, these are adulticides, and these are toxic chemicals for you to breathe in. And they even have articles. They're saying, oh, it's not bad for you, but you should go inside and close all your windows and turn off your AC and all this stuff because you don't want to breathe in these toxic chemicals. But it's not bad for you, okay? They have these trucks going around, and these pesticides and these adulticides that they admittedly are spraying, okay? They say this is good to kill the mosquitoes, even though there's been a lot of research that shows that it doesn't actually decrease the mosquito population, because they've been spraying like this in Florida, certain areas, for a while, right? For decades. But they are now spreading it. Okay, they're now saying we need to do this everywhere. They're moving it to a lot of states where they didn't normally do it. And these adulticides, these pesticides, are known hormone disruptors and endocrine disruptors. Okay, these things mess with your hormones, and when your hormones are disrupted, that is known to give you even more diseases. All right, so everything that's being proposed here, we're having GMO mosquitoes, and now we have, you would think that we would never see a malaria case again, but all of a sudden we haven't had any localized malaria since 2003 in the US, any localized case. Okay, and now 20 years later, a year and a half after they release all these mosquitoes, we are seeing all these outbreaks. Okay, and now the solution is just to release more GMO mosquitoes and genetically alter things even more, which is a perversion of how it was supposed to be created. All right, and then now the solution is also to spray your neighborhoods. They have these trucks driving through your neighborhoods, and they make these sounds like, and they come in real early in the morning or late at night. Okay, and they are gassing the neighborhoods, admittedly, with these adulticides and these pesticides, which cause endocrine and hormone disruption. So, and I've been there. They've been doing it in Florida. I remember my county, all right, up in Pasco County and in Polk County. I remember they were doing these spray trucks all the time, right? But now they're ramping it up and it's spreading to more states, and those are toxic for you as well. Okay, cause major hormone problems and could cause growth issues, and especially children. Okay, because children's hormones and things are developing, and that's not even counting all this tetracycline that is being released. The EPA said you can't release any of these GMO mosquitoes within about a half mile of any of these things, right? Any kind of agriculture, any kind of orchards, any kind of cattle, any kind of sheep, pigs, none of this stuff, it could be released. So what is that doing to the environment and the animals around it as well? And there have been already all these warnings from top experts for years, even the government coming out and putting out some of these warnings that antibiotic superbug resistance is going to be a major issue in the future. We're going to have these antibiotic superbugs, okay, that the antibiotics just don't do anything to them. That's the path that we are on because they are used so commonly and so accessible, and they're just used for random things, right? Just like this. They could have had, they didn't have to do any of this, but now they're even admitting that this could increase antibiotic resistance in humans because the humans are being bit by these mosquitoes, and this gene is also spreading in the mosquitoes as well. So this is very dangerous that this is happening, and antibiotics in general are going to cause a huge problem for us in the future. All right, so this is why you need to be growing your own food, stocking up on your own food. Get chickens. All right, I've had chickens for going on 10 years now. Get chickens now. And I live in my RV with my family off grid full time on a generator and water tanks, all right? And I still have chickens. So there's no excuse to not have chickens, and they lay a ton. I get 5-6 eggs a day, and I only have 6 chickens, okay? Because I'm in my RV, I'm off grid. Once I get my homestead here, working on that very soon, all right? I have an off grid property, but once I get my homestead and it's official, I'm gonna have a ton of chickens, all right? A ton, because that is food that you can eat. And then even if it goes down, there's no more chicken food. You can let your chickens scavenge for food, and you can also eat those chickens if you really need to, all right? So get food now, get stocked up now, because that's how you're going to survive what's coming next. And say no. Say no, do not comply. Write to your Congress people. If you're in these states, write to them and say, hey, we don't want these mosquitoes released in our states. What's going on? Why are all these governors, Florida, California, all these different states, why are they allowing these GMO mosquitoes to be released in their state? They need to say no. The people need to put pressure on them and say no, because now we are seeing the consequences of it. People warned when this happened that this could be a major issue, and we don't know what we're doing. We're playing Frankenstein. We're playing God here. All right, that's essentially what these people are doing, and they're destroying God's creation as well. So this is a major problem. This is a philosophical problem, a spiritual problem. What exactly are these organisms? Okay, are they even real organisms? Is this even still a mosquito, or is this something else? Right? Its genetics have been altered. Its DNA has been crossed with another organism. Right? So we're just entering a realm where all these things are open to possibilities, and we could see a new disease pop up even worse. Okay, this one in Alabama and New York's pretty bad, 30% fatality rate. Somebody's already gone from it. Somebody's already gone. So we could see even more of these pop up with the mosquitoes as a disease vector. All right, they're altering the mosquitoes, they're altering the parasites inside the mosquitoes. All this stuff, they're dependent on antibiotics. There are a lot of places where this could go wrong. All right, so please hit it up for me down below to get this video out to more people. I really appreciate that. Please get prepared. Never stop prepping. Get your stuff stocked up just a little bit more. Just a little bit more, and say no. Do not comply with what's coming next. I hope you have big blessings for your family, for your life. You guys have truly blessed me. I appreciate every viewer, every person. I truly appreciate you guys. You guys make this possible. I'm in this fight, and you guys keep me going. I'm super blessed, and I hope you guys have a big old blessed day.